Hello and welcome to sim.bc, where right now is 1:04. Yeah, that's right, we're back in the evening, because the internet, even though it was a nice oasis of just the most brilliant and most amazing thing ever, nothing good can last forever, isn't that right? That's the harsh reality, that's the harsh nature of reality. We're back to 12 hours of uploading speed, but you know what? We'll make it. We better make sure we make it, because we have no other choice. I know that's a bit, harsh. I'm also going to throw a bit of a mind teaser at you, right, before we start. Just gonna move things around here because I have so many things up at my computer right now. And it's the expression of I'ma work out. I'ma go there. You know what I mean? Because basically, right, I was thinking about I'm going to work out. Right, that's the thing. And I'ma work out. I've heard that like 100 times, but today I'll just put aside some time to think about I'ma work out. And basically what that is, in today's society, right, where everything is you are what you eat, you are what you do, you are your passion. So it's not just the same as saying, right, that concept evolve into I am a workout, because I'm going to go and work out. If I am a workout, it's only natural that I'm going to go and work out. So do people just expect me to work out if I'm saying I'm a workout? Or is it just a way of saying, I am, and like am I, but you saying I is a workout, so am I workout or something, or am a workout? Just a fun thing, that's how my brain works. I hear that on the radio, hear that on the TV screen, hear that in some other context, and I'm just like, drifting away in my own world, trying to analyze it and come up with things that no one has ever seen. So basically, continuing of that theme, we're going to talk about gambling you didn't know were even there. And you might be like, whoa, that's deep, that's a big story. What are you talking about? Have I been gambling all my life without actually knowing that I've been gambling? Well, no. Or maybe. Many people know that these are types of gambling, even though there are generally and normally classified as gambling. And I'm of course talking about banks and the stock market. And you're gonna say, hold up a while, hold up just a second. A bank isn't a place of gambling. A bank is a place of security. Yeah, well, it might be from your point of view, but if you are the person working behind the counter of the bank, they're making a gamble that the money that they lend you is going to be paid back to them with interest, preferably. You're making a gamble in a way by putting your money in the bank's vaults, because even though it's very unlikely, there is an amount of risk that your money will just go away if the bank, gets bankrupt. Which basically means they have no money left because they have more loans. The bank have more loans. Yeah, I know, that's the thing, the bank can have loans. And the bank have more loans than they have your cash, because they've loaned out your cash. So basically, you're making kind of a gamble when you're saying, here, take my money and hold it for me, while I'm going out and spending it in small portions. So you're basically gambling by putting away your money, and they are gambling on lending you money for instance a new house, for a new car, for a new something, or maybe for a new reparation in an old house or an old car. They're making a gamble on you because they need to calculate, right? Is it possible, is it plausible rather, that this person is actually going to pay back? And this is where community investment comes in. Yeah, you with me? Because community investments is a beautiful thing. It was a bank that pioneered in Bangladesh, in East Asia, I would like to say, because we was taught this last year. We were taught that community investment is basically one bank went out to Bangladesh or somewhere in an area, right? We're not going to say a country, but in an area that was very poor, where all the people individually didn't have the credibility to being able to give a loan. I couldn't, as a sensible bank manager, say, well, I've calculated your risk and I'm still going to give you the loan, because they had nothing to put up against the loan. They had no asset to act like a liability for them and an asset for the bank. They couldn't just hand over something that was of an equal worth or symbolizing that I can actually pay back the loan. So instead, they loaned money to communities. So for instance, a community of people could come, like a group of people, 10 to 15, let's say is the number, could come into the bank and say, well, we know that individually we do not have the amount of assets that it takes in order to get a loan. However, together we do. So can we get a loan in order to start this business? Which worked. It worked tremendously. It worked splendidly. This bank was the same bank that I don't remember the name of because it was 2 months ago now. And sorry, mates. Raw footage, you know. That pioneered the idea that instead of viewing clients at a bank for, you know, their fiscal assets, they were looking at, does this person have a drive? And this is where gambling especially comes in, because when they're looking at you as a person, they think, do you have a drive? Do you have what it takes to actually succeed in the market? Should we give you money? Should we lend you money because we believe in you, not believe in your assets? We're not seeing this concrete thing that if you falter on your loan, if it's a bad loan, right, if it's a bad debt, we're not getting it back. We can just take your stuff until it measures the loan that you've taken. However, these people went out, and it was hugely successful. I'm just going to state that in the beginning, but they went out and they were looking at the individual and saying, well, you are a good person. I believe in you, in your business idea. I believe in your drive. I believe in how you're going to go and go about things and doing things. I will give you a loan. And that's especially, as I said, when gambling comes in, because they have no real financial security when giving out this loan. Now, these were microloans, so each individual loan wasn't that important, so to say, even though the mass was. But if you lost 1 out of 100, that was perhaps just $900 in comparison to I don't know what the average loan is in my community, but just they say that it's more like 30,000 euros, $30,000, something. Now, I know that we have crowns, but that's just to get an international understanding of it all. But that's not the only thing that I mentioned now, was it? Because I was saying that bank is a way of gambling. You're gambling by putting your money in there, and they're gambling on lending money to you. Right? So far, so good. And that's a gambling that people just don't tend to think about. They just tend to think about it as a fact. And when they do think about it as a fact, well, then we're just lending and putting money in, and the bank is lending them, and then we're in a financial crisis before we know it. That's obviously not the only factor to a financial crisis, but it could potentially increase the possibility of a financial crisis for people if having this mentality without actually thinking that, well, I'm actually making a gamble putting my money in there, and they're making a gamble lending me money. And it's when this disappears, this mentality, that we're more easily moving into a financial crisis. Well, you probably know it by now since I've presented it. But I didn't only mention banks. I also mentioned the stock market. And this is probably something that most people will think, yeah, it is quite like gambling. It's an accepted view, but not everybody. So yet again, this is just to educate you, mates. The stock market is basically something that is based on speculation. The same goes with cryptocurrency, in my opinion, currency overall. The currency or the stock that we're viewing is only worth what we believe that it's worth. So it's based on speculation. So if I speculate 1 crown being worth $1, that might not say that much, but if everybody in Sweden does so, perhaps it will. And more importantly, if everybody in the US speculate that 1 Swedish crown is equally as much as worth as $1, since we're having a floating exchange rate, that could move over to be reality. But that's not the point I'm trying to make it. That's just a very theoretical point with very little, implication on reality. But stocks, on the other hand, is based on speculation. Sure, there are some fiscal assets in the base of every stock. We have this amount of fiscal assets. This is what we're working with. This is what we're valued our stocks on. But then we also have a lot of intangible things that we just can't give the bank. Because basically, if I'm saying that my brand is kind of an intangible thing in a way, if my company goes bankrupt and I'm giving the bank the logo, it's not going to be much worth when I'm bankrupt. But that is something that is playing a huge role when you're thinking about the stock market, because let's just say that we're putting the Google's brand or Apple's brand or someone else's brand, Walmart, IKEA for instance. They have all these big companies putting their brands on things that will automatically increase the stock value. For instance, as I took up in my or briefly mentioned in my Disney Fox video. I was saying that just because Fox was in negotiations about selling with Disney, Fox's stock went up because people knew that if we buy stocks in Fox, it potentially, right, could either transfer into Disney, or when they're being sold, Fox will be worth a lot of money, and those stocks will go up based on speculation. And then when they withdraw, the stocks went down again because the speculation was out of it, and then when they went in again, stocks went up again. So it's all about speculation. But what is that to do about gambling? Well, it's basically you're putting in money in the potential gain, the potential future greater gain, which is, as we've covered in yesterday's and the day before that's a video, that's basically what gambling is. Gambling is you putting in your financial means, or a certain amount of financial money. You're putting in money, right? You're putting in $1 in order to get more than $1 back. Of course, you have the possibility that this won't happen, and that's where you get into the stock market. You can invest $100,000, let's say, and then it increases by 1%, and you have $101,000. Yeah, that is it. That's it. 100,000 plus 1,000, $101,000. But it can also be the case that it lowers by 1%, it decreases by 1%, and you're stuck with $99,000. Now that is an investment based on the entire stock markets and the entire population speculations about what this is worth has decreased the amount of money that you have. So basically, you've invested a certain amount of money in order to hope you're getting back more, but it can also be that you're getting screwed and you're getting a lower amount, which is introducing this idea of gambling into the mix. So basically, stock market and the banks are two things that most people, I would like to argue, at least for me, that was the case, and the people in my social circles, I'd say, that I'm tipping into, did not have a clue about this until I started studying economics. And of course, the people that I'm studying with, I don't count, but the people that doesn't study economics, that I also socialize with, those are the people that I kind of informed about this, and they were like, oh, is that the case? I had never thought about it like that. So that's kind of an interesting thing to take up. That is gambling you didn't know were actually there, banks and the stock market, because that's just the nature of how they operate based on, statistical analysis. So it's kind of safe, but still, it is a way of gambling. That was everything from me today, mates, even though it's very late again, and I don't like this. I just realized after 2 days of recording in the middle of the day, I don't like recording in the middle of the night. It kind of locks me in a position, right? I need to stay up until I can record the next video, and, well, then I have to upload it, and then I have to sleep and think about, well, I'm uploading it as I go to sleep, and then when I wake up, I have to check it. Is it uploaded? It's the last thing I think about when I go to bed, and the first thing I think about when I wake up, and that's not pleasant. Anyway, mates, have a nice day ahead of you, because it's going to be day when you watch this, probably, not night as it is for me. Have I been complaining on this a bit much now? I probably haven't. I should put in more effort. No, of course not, but have a nice one, mates, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice one.